Travis Wayne Goodsell. This is intended just to be a quick video, we'll see. But those of you who have been following me, did you pay attention to the news today? And I think also yesterday involved some of it with last night's news. Supreme Court. They've been handing out rulings like Skittles. Taste the rainbow. That actually, was one of them. But those of you who have been following me for a long time now, I have warned you of a couple of these cases, at least, that were given to the Supreme Court and that they ruled on. Two of them today. But even way back in 2021, before the October conference, I found a secret combination membership directory of America and tied it directly to the church. Skousens are the church's representatives in that group. And since 1981, they have been instrumental in seeking to destroy the United States of America and bring about the second coming of Jesus with Armageddon to destroy the United States of America. And thus, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints gets their kingdom back. And although Mormons are like, yeah, so, Jesus is true, Church is true, they don't realize the danger to them in their stupidity. Because those of you who have been watching me can now begin to put the pieces of the puzzle together. You're seeing how the church is setting all this up. It's not in the coming days you're going to see the wonderful magical powers of Jesus before the second coming. It's the church. They're working with this secret combination to compromise our government. So yes, I specifically designed the thumbnail picture, as I do all thumbnail pictures, for coded symbolism. But yeah, these are reminders to you that I have already done the videos of, although the Supreme Court is a PNG. I just got that today. And of course you recognize the Jesus logo from the video I did the other day, going over the church news. So yeah, the church news has been silent, but this is what happens. Bombshells in the news, church goes silent, because they don't want to be associated with any of this. Yet they are. They caused it. They put the Supreme Court justices in. They bribed them, as Cook has shown at the Washington, D.C. temple. What's significant about the Washington, D.C. temple? It's for the second coming. The whole painting of the second coming of Jesus is in there. I've shown you those pictures of the lobby where it's hanging on the wall. And I have other pictures where I show signs in the heavens. But the church, through the way to perfection in the thumbnail, is to remind you of the church's plot to overthrow the government. Because on pages 290 and 291, Lucifer goes to Adam on Diamond, is in attendance, he has to behave himself because he's handing over the keys of the United States of America to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Joseph Fielding Smith even says, Mormons won't ever know about it. It'll be a sacred secret. And I knew about it. And I exposed it. How did I know about it? And so, yeah. What was done recently was all part of the plan to give the church their kingdom back. Just like Roe v. Wade. That was just a major entrance into that version of hating women and subjecting them back into sex slavery. Do you not understand what they're doing with that? Because now they're telling us, or they're doing what they had promised previously as a threat. And so when Trump was interviewed by Chris Matthews, not Lawrence O'Donnell, right? I get them mixed up sometimes. Trump said, we're going to have to see about locking women up in prison for murdering fetuses. How did the woman get pregnant again? Why would she not want the baby? Because usually if a woman gets pregnant, she wanted the baby. But Christians of the secret combination, Jesus of the Church of Jesus Christ, that's not their concern. Their concern is trapping women to be married to an old, creepy leader of the church to an 11-year-old. So that she does not get an education, there's no need. She's breeding. She does not get a career, there's no need. She's breeding. This is their whole thinking process. They don't want you to have agency. Whose plan of happiness was that again? Take away agency, huh? Heavenly Father's plan. Jesus said, I will go and take away the agency of man. I will save everybody in the highest degree of the celestial kingdom with polygamy. And so another thing that you guys are not too up on per se in connection with this is keeping out non-whites from America, specifically at the southern border where there's a majority of non-whites, because a high percentage of Canadians but yeah, despite President Hinckley in a meeting that was held where a missionary up in Canada had served his mission in Salt Lake and had been in attendance at the meeting, and then I confirmed that missionary's claims when I was working on the footnote revision, that Hinckley prophesied. Mormons are so desperate for their prophets to be prophets. It's sad that Utah would be overrun with those from the South. And so Utah has been contrary to the rest of conservative Nazis in the nation by allowing refugees and immigrants into Utah. It has nothing to do with their generosity and kindness in wanting to help them. It's to fulfill Hinckley's prophecy. And so, this is also going to help the church to remove all those of color from the church. Remember, they're still racist. But I think they've come to realize now that that prophecy ain't going to happen, and I think they've tried to keep it silent. Let it die off. Oops! Did I reveal something you didn't want revealed, Nelson? And so some of the other things and how they tie in. Maybe this video will be a little longer than I wanted. Affirmative action. And by who? Yeah, Mr. Already compromised by January 6th and should have been removed from office because of the 14th Amendment. It's not just for congressmen, it's for anybody in government who are involved in trying to overthrow the government. And thanks to his wife, he got compromised and had made some rulings that were naughty no-nos, that he should have recused himself and he didn't, and thus he should be gone. But nobody's getting rid of him. See, this is the one thing that frustrates me. Everybody thinks that, oh no, the Supreme Court justices, they're in for life. Oh no, they don't have any ethics. Oh no, we need to put ethics reform in the Supreme... The Constitution already has it. How did the Supreme Court justices get their job? Oh, the Senate. So maybe the Senate could remove a justice? And yet they're talking about impeachment, which has to go through the House, and then, no. If they got hired by the Senate, they can get fired by the Senate, and thus get replaced by the Senate. It's not complicated. But with ethics, no, there's already a federal ethics rules that judges are supposed to recuse themselves for a whole long list of items. I had to go through that when I was suing the church in the federal court, because there were some justices who were being naughty and not recusing themselves as they needed to be, and so I needed to put in some filings that required them to remind them of the ethics code. It's just left-wing media is so dumb. But affirmative action, again, it's for BYU and other church-sponsored schools to kick out those who are not white, tying back into the border. And the church wouldn't do that now, no, but they would do it in Zion when America's destroyed. They play you for dumb. Literally, Mormons, they play you for dumb. And then you go out and you attack me. No, the church is led by Jesus, and Jesus is love because it says so in the Bible, and They're already following Lucifer's plan of happiness. Jesus is not their Christ. And when you pull that kind of a stunt, you are not following Christ. Just like the Christian I had to deal with today. Which Jesus are you referring to? None. And so I laid it on him. had to bring up Constantine and that Nicene Creed. See, this is a channel about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and its effects on Mormons. But if a Christian dares to attack, they will get it. Dear God. And so, yeah, I had to remind him that Joseph and the Book of Mormon are in the learning of the Jews. Oh, right, exactly what Constantine did to the Jews. Brigham did too to Joseph Smith in the Book of Mormon. And so, yeah, that's the affirmative action. It's right that schools can't give preference just because of a discriminating factor. They need to use lower schooling grading to justify allowing students into their school. It doesn't do any good to have graduates who are C students. It doesn't look good for the school when a person is hired from Harvard or Yale who was a C student, who are now working for your company, and they kind of suck at their job too. It puts a bad name on the school. But the reason why affirmative action was proposed by the liberals was because of the grade schools that are not equally educating those of color, specifically blacks, because blacks have been slaves in America for 600 years. And if you're unfamiliar with the utopian principle, you don't want to read Thomas More's little quick book, you can watch a 2-hour, well, less than 2 hours, it's probably an hour and a half. Not sure of the exact time, but Drew Barrymore's Ever After. She helps explain it for you very simply and easily with an application in a movie form. And so, yeah, that's why that's a problem. And so the way to fix it is not by reparations, but giving equal schooling to all Americans. And it has to start with the grade schools. And it takes time for the kids to work their way through the grade schools, but there's also the problem of the cultural environment, the geographical environment that black kids are typically living in. They're not rich. They're living in impoverished conditions, and so they're struggling with food and having food insecurity and financial security, which is the reason why they're having food insecurity, and that has to do with not getting an education for blacks, as it becomes tougher to get the better paying jobs, except for manual labor, which will pay you a lot, but has a high risk of death and a shortened lifespan. So yeah, that's a big problem, but it should have been done centuries ago and wasn't, and so now it's just getting worse and worse. The other one is student loans. This is a situation that is tied to the collapsing economy that we had the debt crisis with. Had anybody noticed the stock market? As the debt crisis was getting scary, oh no, we're going to default, stock market was taking a plunge. They were preparing to threaten to collapse the economy if Democrats didn't cave and conform and comply to terrorist demands. And then after the Democrats conformed and complied to the terrorist demands. Stock market went zoom. Buy low, sell high. It's their little gambling game for the rich elite. If you're only putting thousands of dollars in the stock market, you're being fleeced. You're helping the rich. That's their little gambling center. You're just a small little fish in their pond. And so the student loans is now tied to the economy, and the stock market has nothing to do with the economy. The economy is based on the corporations and the manner in which they pay their employees, which, the Biden economics, oh dear God, we got to talk about that too. Biden econ. Plus the price of the products that the companies sell, and thus the quality of the products. And Ford Motor Company had thought they had figured out a way to make mega bucks by coming out with the Pinto. A cheap car that keeps breaking down, requiring continual maintenance or replacement sooner than their '69 Ford truck. And Maytag is another example. Gordon Jump, Mormon boy, now dead, said that he would do their commercials, as they asked him to, only on the condition that they offer a lifetime guarantee on their washing machines. And so, yeah, he did the advertising, guaranteed lifetime guarantee on the washing machines. And yeah, Maytag was awesome. They had to charge more, but they were awesome. My mom had one and then went to a Sears Kenmore and then complained the rest of her life that she should have stuck with her Maytag. But when I went in to get a Maytag, Gordon Jump was dead, and the salesperson told me, yeah, the newer machines no longer have a lifetime guarantee. And so you have to pay for warranties after the 5 years if they break down before the 5 years. And wouldn't you know it, 2 days after the warranty expired, so frustrating. But yeah, the one I have now, it's doing okay. No problems so far. I'm not happy with the lint catcher, but ain't no big deal. It's just causing me to do more cleaning than I want. And so, yeah, the student loans is a situation where universities are a corporation, and they're continually raising the cost of an education and going back to affirmative action. And the economy with wages is not going up equivalently to the cost of living. It's been early 2000s, I think I saw months ago, when the last raise in minimum wage was. And yeah, I hear people talking about how businesses pay more And yeah, I saw a help wanted sign today that was offering a salary at almost $19 an hour, but that's not the cost of living. Cost of living, I did the math back in the mid 2000s. I figured that I required a $23 an hour job in order to get a basic living on my own. And yeah, that ain't gonna happen. And so decades later, as I'm having to pay for things, I'm realizing that that estimate that I had way back when, a couple of decades ago, needs to be adjusted. It's actually a decade and a half, isn't it? Almost two. Could be almost two. And so yeah, it's over $30 an hour, 40-hour week. And if you paid attention to the news here in Utah about the quotas, no, Travis, they're evaluations. For the police officers. he pushes that as if that's no. Quotas are not evaluations. Evaluations are not quotas. They're not the same. But the officers have to get one ticket per hour. Oh, no. There's lots of different ways to get citations. It's still a quota. Oh my God. But yeah, it's now estimated that graduates, and depending on how high up you go, will never ever be able to pay off their debts. Even if you get a big paying job, you will be spending decades trying to pay it off because of the interest that's also added on top of it. And so that's been a big problem, and where Biden was only trying to help out by giving college tuition for free and then trying to cancel student loan debt. But that's been shot down now. And so now, if you want an education, you're going to have to pay for it. And getting a job isn't going to be enough to pay it back, as you will then have to suffer financially. You're going to have to decide, do we pay our student loan bill for the month, or do I get married and try to have a family, like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is ordering me to under the penalty of death? To 11-year-old girls in polygamy and having a baby every year from each wife, which I think was 35, but I think I was going off of 11 years old. Can't remember. Dear God, why are you wanting to be Mormon again? And so the other one, I'm posting this tomorrow. I see that we're already past 9, and that project is finished. So yeah, this is going to be over 30 minutes already. The next one, they tried to overthrow the government by defaulting on the debt. They gave a scare at the end of every year to collapse the economy by shutting down the federal government, by not agreeing to the budget. And that's always likely this year. But, we have that day that shall burn as an oven coming. It's the bicentennial year. Church has got to get things going, and here it is. This was a big blow that will lead to what the church wants to get their kingdom back. And so, yeah, causing an increase in financial struggles will lead to the other news story I saw on Fox 13 News tonight, which I already told you about. I saw from the Young Turks that it's the whole nation that's suffering now. Because during COVID, many people were given rent relief to be able to afford food and such during the time when they're not employed. And now the apartments are coming back and saying, hey, you got this rent that's due. You start paying. And there's a superiorly large number of new homeless, even in Utah. They finally came out and confessed that, yeah, what I told you about by being an inside reporter at the men's shelter for 9 months, where they tried to assassinate me, keep me there as a hostage, human trafficking me, as everybody was sick there because of the drug poisoning residue, and they refused to test. The cops refused to help. Nobody wants to do their job because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is in charge of it all. Church is financially profiting off of human trafficking, human suffering, human death, human captivity, and getting laundering of money to help with the profiting off of the homeless shelters. And so, yeah, even though the shelters are now able to kick people out to go back to the number of beds that they have, because it's now not freezing. I saw, as I went out today, the homeless were out in full force. And a couple of familiar faces, but many who were not familiar. And it's sad. I heard a couple of guys talking about how the one is in a homeless shelter and getting kicked out and having to go to different ones. And then another guy said, yeah, I used to be in the shelter. And I saw another homeless person bothering an elderly couple, talking about how he reinvented or redesigned the internet and found that the Bible had a secret code in it which sounded exactly like New Age. But he was claiming it was ancient. New Age comes from the Hare Krishnas at the airports back in the 70s. Or was it 60s and 70s? Can't remember. Are they even still around? But, yeah. Dear God. So, yeah, he was just non-stop rambling. And then Biden economics to try to compensate for the failed student loans. It's trickle-down economics. You give to the companies, like the church. They gave to the shelter, not to the homeless. The money didn't trickle down to us at the shelter. We never saw a single penny. We never saw a single item bought by those pennies. We got nothing. It all went to their pocketbooks. Those who were on the board. And those who are, honorary overseers, they got the money. And that's the problem with trickle-down economics when Reagan started it, is that it's a failed economy system. It doesn't work. It causes harm to the nation because they are greedy. They want more money. And so, yeah, the Ford Pinto scandal had led to what eventually would become trickle-down economics in the 80s under Reagan, is because corporations wanted ways to make money. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a corporation. They're not a religion. They want money. And they've confessed, yeah, we're saving the money for Jesus. No, they're using it to cause Armageddon. What did you think the money to Russia was for? Where is that temple? Or is it just because Putin has failed so far to take Kiev and thus occupy the temple and say, here you go, here's your temple, it's a little shot up. Your insurance under the Ukrainian government is no longer valid. You'll have to pay for the damage repairs yourself. But I can see Nelson coming out and saying, we have a temple in Russia now. They paid for the war. So, to God. Let's see, any number of these. You know, it's just like Roe v. Wade. Nobody fought for it to not happen. The Democrats knew what they had to do with the Supreme Court when they took over in 2020. They didn't. They're as much to blame as MAGA, who threatened it and fulfilled their campaign promises, and the church, who led the charge through the secret combination group who put the Supreme Court justices in. And so, yeah, after these have gone through, you're going to see, just like with Roe v. Wade, the various MAGA states, Utah, will again be going through and making laws based on these to go to the next level, to cause more problems for you. And so then you have the postman who sued and got it to the Supreme Court because he didn't want to work on Sunday. What does the First Amendment say? That first part again about religion? No establishment of religion. And I went over this the other day. It means Congress cannot make any laws that involve a religion. The Respect for Marriage Act, it's automatically null and void because it violates the First Amendment because of the church's exemption clause that they put in. The exemption clause for religion is null and void. Congress shall not respect an establishment of religion. It needed to be voted on the merits it had, and it wasn't going to pass. The church wanted it to pass with their exemption clause, which violates the First Amendment. And that's why it passed. Because it leads to Zion. Because they can be exempt from not only excluding blacks and those of color from Zion and subject women to sex slavery starting at 11 years old, but also, return to conversion therapy for anybody who dares to claim they're LGBTQIAPO+. So the postman, likewise, He doesn't want to work on Sunday because that's his religious belief. It has to do with an establishment of religion. The government's already blew that on that one, because Sundays is a day off in the week. They don't do that for Saturdays. But notice how the federal government does not work on weekends for both Jews and Christians. There's nothing for the federal government for Islam or for other religions that may have a required day out of the week to have off. But this is favoring the establishment of religion. They can't do that. The federal government must be available all day of the week. They cannot be closed on Saturdays. They cannot be closed on Sundays for religious purposes. They would need another excuse, which is kind of hard if they're going to still want it done on Saturday and Sundays. Because no religion with government. And so thus, if you're a religious believer and you want to have a job and you're not able to own your own business, to set your own days and times of operation, take the risk of people not shopping at your business because you're open on a day they disapprove of, then you're stuck working for someone else. You're their slave, and you can't request a day off. You cannot allow your religion to force a company. So if your religion as a slave does not allow you to work on Saturday or Sunday or whatever day of the week, then you find another job to be a slave at. And then this all goes back into the economy problem. And thus those who are of color, is they don't get much options, and so they're removed from religion because they're forced to work on whichever day they're supposed to have off. And so what the postman did, the postman is a federal operation. And so they were working on Sunday because they're not supposed to be involved with religion. But he complained, and the Supreme Court that wants to overthrow the government because the secret combination led by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints put them in there to do that, to violate the First Amendment. And so the postman got his wish. And this is going to lead to others saying, I want this day off, I want that day off. And then the unions are going to support them. And the post office will suffer because they won't be able to get anybody to work on Sunday or Saturday or any other religious holiday that might pop up that is not supposed to be a federal holiday. Like Christmas. See, the federal government doesn't take off for Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, just Christmas. Oops. And so, that's the problem with that one. And so the church wants that because it forces you under their economy as a slave to the church in Zion, which you're no longer going to be paying tithing. Woo! You're now going to give everything to the church. Law of consecration. Oh. Don't you want Zion? Yeah, you'll be given food and a piece of junk place to live in to keep you alive, to keep you working. But if you step out of line and complain, utopia. Or you can even Les Miserables. That's also another version of utopia. And so the final one is the website woman. And this is directed at LGBTQ. But her religious beliefs. And again, the Supreme Court was supposed to reject this immediately. Sorry, this deals with a religion. We can't do anything that deals with a religion. First Amendment. But religions are bigots. They don't love, despite their claim that Jesus, the God of love, teaches them to love. But this also is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints through the secret combination. They want conversion therapy to torture you for being LGBTQ. And in Nazi Germany, right before it hit the fan, they were going around labeling people. Oh, you're gay. Great. Here, wear this sign. Wear the sign, loud and proud. And then Nazi Germany. And, oh, you're wearing that sign, are you? Come with me. We have a new home for you. Don't mind the gas chambers. You won't feel a thing. After being tortured with conversion therapy and other tortures. And you think it's a good idea to be labeled and have a sign on your driver's license and birth certificates that identifies you as a member of a group that MAGA wants to murder. And MAGA is taking over this nation, in case you hadn't noticed with these Supreme Court rulings. You don't think they're going to do it? Good luck with that. There's a reason why they're following Nazi Germany's example. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They are well known to be Nazi supporters. I've caught 3 apostles giving the Heil Hitler. And I've done the videos to expose that. Oaks was hilarious. I was the one who caught it because I was recording it. And at the end of the conference, he does the Heil Hitler to the youth. The boys of the Aaronic priesthood who were singing at that Saturday evening conference. And so I went in, got the clip, got the picture snapshot, did the video that evening. The next day, Saturday morning session, conference ends, the camera's still recording, and he does this. It's this, but down there at his waist. He was about to do it. And so word got back to him quick. In case you didn't know, my conference videos are very popular, at least for my channel. And I have spies, because the church is not happy that I've sued them. And so, yeah, this website also will allow the church to ban people that their religion disapproves of. Because if the church becomes Zion, that means they got the whole state of Utah at least. It becomes Zion. the church can now claim eminent domain. We're a religion. The United States government can't touch us if it's not destroyed. And they can start doing all these things. Marrying 11-year-old girls, child slave labor, sex slavery, kicking out those who are of color, who are not the white master race, and removing or torturing if they won't leave, and are punished as a crime for being black or being LGBTQ. And then they'll utterly destroy your life. That's what they already do here in Utah. If you get arrested by a cop when they haven't even investigated the case, it was just an accusation, you go to jail. Can you afford bail? If you can, you're rich. If you're not rich, you stay in jail. You don't get to leave. Because what's good at setting bail if you can't afford the bail? And so you're imprisoned. It counts towards your sentence. But you haven't even gone to court yet to be found guilty of anything. And so the cops use that as time to force a confession, where they torture you there and force you to confess to a lesser charge that has no guarantee that the judge will allow it, but it'll get you your freedom. But you'll have the mark of guilty. You are now a criminal. You've bypassed your due process rights to now be a criminal. And you've already lost your home, you've already lost your family, you've already lost your transportation, you've already lost your job, your life is ruined. But at least you got out of jail. You're now in a homeless shelter, sick every single day because of the drug poisoning residue, as others are dying around you, as you witness the torturing abuse, not just by the staff. So, yeah, this is all part of what the church wanted. All involved with what the church wants for their end goal in Zion. And that's the trap, is that Mormons, they don't see how it's going to affect them in the church. They don't see the church's connection in any of this. Only I do, because I found the secret membership book. I found the way to perfection. An hour-long video? My hell. This was intended to be 10 minutes at the most. Good night.